And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're in. Welcome. This is not a walkthrough, but welcome back to Doom Eternal. This is gonna be the verdict video. Alright, let's just get straight to it. So, to sum it up, what would I give Doom Eternal? 10 out of 10. Alright, get out of here. We're not doing this anymore. No, you can actually leave. Don't leave any popcorn or any other stuff because you'd be a serious dick. Okay, is everyone gone? All the people not watching the video gone? Yes, I'm being meta. No, I'm kidding. So, you guys already see me beat the Age of Gods Part 2. You already see me do all that. I beat Doom Eternal, the Age of Gods 1, Part 1, Part 2. Beat Doom, the original 2016. The only thing that's left in terms of the schedule for the Doom playlist walkthrough is Doom 3, but we're going to take a break from the Doom series to move on to other games. So, the official schedule for upcoming weeks for next year, depending on how next year goes. Okay, so for this week, we're going to be focusing on Elden Ring, that's a given. And what else are we going to be doing besides Elden Ring? That's pretty much it. I'm going to try something different from Friday and Sunday, because Saturdays are pretty much break days. For Friday and Saturdays, for the random days, we're going to do alphabetical order games, like, let's just say Friday as an example, is going to be just number games, and the other day is just going to be focused on A-list games. So we're going to do alphabetical orders, and we're going to keep doing that until we get to Z. Then we'll go to normal schedule and find some other ideas for random days. But I felt like showing the love for the other games that don't really get a lot of attention, and I think they deserve the time and respect that these developers are doing. Okay, so pretty much for all intents and purposes, let's just get to the verdict video. So, vanilla game, the vanilla game, or the OG Doom Eternal, the main campaign I love to call it, or we can call it vanilla, OG, pretty much fist pumping, yeah. Doom Eternal gets a 10 out of 10, straight up. It's now on my 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 games that I highly recommend. That's a 10. The Age of Gods Part 1, I had a hard time trying to give a score out of 10 for this one, and you guys can disagree with me or agree with me. I can't recommend the Age of Gods Part 1 now, but I'll give it a 7 out of 10. And the Age of Gods Part 2, this one surprised myself. I thought I was going to give it a straight up 8. Nope, give it a 9. Straight up 9. Alright, so I'll try to make it fast so I don't bore you guys, and you guys don't click the other channels, but you guys will anyway. But okay, so main campaign in terms of what my negative is, like I do for my other verdict videos, it's the story. It's just kind of like it's trying to take itself so seriously. You have to literally read the codex page to understand all the lore, the story, and everything that's going on in terms of the actual story. You're playing Doom, killing demons from hell. That's the story. The end. You have to literally read the codex page to understand what the freak is going on. And guess what? You won't care. You're just gonna kill demons from hell and just have a bloody good time out of it. Enough said. So if you came for the story, it's nothing that's gonna grab your attention. Let's just face it. I think the story gets better in Ancient Gods Part 2. One try, but I don't think it did it well enough. And if you really want a good story from ID Software, the collaboration from ID Software, just play the freaking Wolfenstein. Those stories are much better, and I like the characters better. The only character I actually gave a damn was pretty much Doomslayer. That's pretty much it. Now, let's move on to the positive. Yes, I only have one negative for pretty much Doom Eternal, the vanilla OG. Okay, so positives, pretty much the new weapons. They brought existing weapons from the Doom 2016. They just made it much better, much satisfying, more gory. The speed and oh crap, I'm trying to think of some really good positive ones. Alright, so in terms of the positive, there's so much improvements from 2016. It's my favorite improvement from 2016. So, gameplay was perfect. I think that's one of the major highlights of it. The gameplay was snappy, it was flashy, it was fun, it was bloody fun, and it was just satisfying, and there was a lot of weight with the combat. It was just fantastic. 2016, when you go back to it, it's just so much slower with Doomslayer compared to Doom Eternal. You just feel like a beast mode all the time, and you're just super fast. Yeah, the gameplay is just perfect. It's much better than 2016. I cannot stress that enough. And the new enemies they give you compared to 2016, which I thought they had a very good assortment and it wasn't repetitive in terms of enemies. I just think the enemies are much fleshed out and have much variety compared to 2016. There was just so much stuff that they brought from the older Doom games, and they just brought it back for Doom Eternal. It just feels like you're just killing everything. I mean, you pretty much killed just an icon of sin in the main campaign, and you literally fight the Dark Lord, or they're pretty much trying to say he's Satan. They're pretty much trying to say he's Satan in the Age of Gods Part 2. Can't get any crazier than that. So, along with the enemy variety and pretty much the gameplay, the environment is fantastically more open and more diverse. There's so much love and care that went into the environments in 2016. 2016 had some good environments. I'm not going to stretch it. It had some great environments. I just felt like Doom Eternal's environments were just more well detailed. There was just so much history and so much more. You could tell the developers took the time to actually give us a sense of time and place with these environments. And it just continued from the main campaign all the way to the Age of Gods Part 2. I was never disappointed with the environments. It was just so open. There was so much strategy you could do and so many corners, so many stuff to collect. Another thing that I highly enjoyed. The collectibles are super fun in the main campaign. From the cheat codes, which are just highlights, and yes, I highly recommend to get the cheat codes because it just makes it fun. My favorite, personally, is Infinite Ammo and QuakeCon. You'll see, if you see in my previous videos, QuakeCon is pretty freaking fun. So, along with the cheat codes, there are great collectibles to just collect everywhere. You are compelled, and it's a great briefer from all the glory kills and just all the bloods and violence. The collectibles are worth seeking out because it's not just for the story lore, it's just because they are great callbacks to the previous Dooms, including to Doom 2016. There's just so many collectibles that are super fun. And it's not just the collectibles. The collectibles that you focus on, you get sweet looking costumes. I'm going to show you what costumes you get. You literally get costumes for this guy. Yeah, you get this armor that you get from the very beginning. You pretty much get the original Doomslayer armor, the Hot Rod, QuakeCon. You even get, and I'll show you, you even get this dick guy. We don't know who King Guy is, but you get him for no freaking reason. And that's not all. You get pretty much Conan the Barbarian. And what else do you get? Oh yeah, you get Santa. For some reason you get Santa. I don't know why you get Santa because of the holidays, but that's how expansive the main campaign is. There's just so much goodies and extras that I highly recommend playing with the cheat codes or different costumes because everything tailors to your playstyle and your experience. Also, another highlight is the music is pretty much beast tier, or top tier. Mick Gordon kills it in 2016 in terms of music. And as you're listening to now, Mick Gordon, even though he didn't do the Ancient Gods soundtrack, his music is legendary in the main campaign. The only thing they fear is you is a perfect song, and I love going back to the Arx Complex just to hear that song. The music's top tier. Mick Gordon is freaking awesome. And I kind of wish they brought him back for the Ancient Gods Part 1 and 2 for the soundtrack, but that's completely okay. We can deal. trying to think if the graphics were top notch. The graphics are top notch, but I don't think like to the caliber of Wolfenstein. But it's not. I'm not gonna complain on it. I think the graphics are pretty great for the most part. I just don't think it's like Wolfenstein graphics or God of War 2018 types of graphics. And I already have pretty much talked about the weapons are pretty much top tier. I loved all the weapons about it. Even the new weapons, I think they had a great assortment of weapons that just make you an absolute beast of a killing machine. So yeah, what I'm overall trying to say, freaking play the main campaign of Doom Eternal. Even if you don't play the Ancient Gods Part 1 and 2, that's completely okay. You'll get your money's worth from just the main campaign, and you'll be super satisfied. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a gamer, I highly recommend it because it's so easy to play that game, and it's just so fun, so satisfying. I didn't want the moment to end from Doom Eternal because it was just so satisfying from the vanilla OG Doom Eternal, and I'm not gonna stop that bandwagon. Freaking get Doom Eternal, the main campaign. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 20 out of 10. Okay, I'm done fanboying. Now let's get to the Ancient Gods Part 1 just to finish this out so I don't go 30 minutes. The Ancient Gods 1 Part 1 is not the greatest. It's not Doom. Yo, if I sound different, the Ancient Gods Part 1 it's just a trimmed down, very ball crap of a version of the main campaign. It's not great. It's not great. The combat, the excellent combat is there. The enemy variety, that's one of the negatives. But what we'll start with the positive. What I enjoyed on the Ancient Gods Part 1 is that it was challenging. You literally had white knuckles, including with the final boss fight. I think the combat was still fantastic just from the main campaign. What I love about it Okay, so I'm trying to think some really good positives for the Ancient Gods Part 1, but those are an ID Software. They know that this pretty much Part 1 I'm gonna say it was a shitstorm. There we go. It was like they didn't try. They saved the budget for Ancient Gods Part 2. They clearly did. And I cannot stress how it disappointed me. But it was the amount of challenge that went into the Ancient Gods Part 1. Like, I was literally sweating bullets, and I had to watch my butt all the freaking time because it was that challenging. I like that you got your upgraded weapons that you freaking earned for the main campaign, and it's just translate and transitions to the Ancient Gods Part 1. And I do like that there was a good amount of challenge. It just didn't feel like you were just beast mode and main campaign. They actually gave you a challenge. And when you actually killed everything from every battle, even go to the final boss fight, it felt satisfying because Doom Eternal, the main vanilla OG campaign, and I'm not going to stop saying that until the end of this video, they had a great balance. It wasn't too hard, but it wasn't too easy. For the Ancient Gods, they decided to kick your teeth in and just say, "That's right, scrubs. You didn't see anything yet. You're gonna get good. You're gonna get good in this." And you really will get good. The new environments, another positive, the new environments were really well done. I like it was short, but it was sweet with the level design. It was still open that I loved in Doom Eternal. They just brought it and gave us new areas that were just so various and diverse. Like the swamp level, that was actually surprising. And going back to Urdak after it was pretty much demons are roaming in their kind of, you get the idea. But yeah, I think the new environments were just well done. It was well done. I had to admit. They were They were really well done. And the last positive, because I can't think of any other positive, the cliffhanger of basically evil Doomslayer was a great setup for Age of Gods Part 2, and it paid off. For a sec, I thought they were going to just pretty much drop the ball when they introduced the Dark Lord. I really thought that. I was like, okay, so it's evil Doomslayer. What a great cliffhanger. Are they going to end that in a satisfying note? Spoilers, they do. In Age of Gods Part 2, so satisfying how they ended it. But let's focus on Age of God Part 1 so we can finish this verdict video and then move on to the... So that's the positive. I think it had a very solid cliffhanger, and I like how they paid it off too. So, positive for that. Now, let's talk about the negatives. The enemy variety sucked ass. I'll repeat it. The enemy variety sucked ass. The new turret sucked so much. The spirit enemy was good challenge. That was part of the challenge. Don't get me wrong. I like the spirit enemy to a degree. I just don't think they were implemented well in Age of Gods. I just did not like them at all. And then basically when you find out you have to Ghostbuster them, literally, to kill them, no one told me that. They didn't even say that. Or maybe they did tell us in the loading screen. It just wasn't done well. The spirits were freaking annoying. And the Bloodmaker, I could deal with the Bloodmaker more than the spirits and the turret. I hated the turret because it just made the fun, frantic, killing everything that moves in Doom Eternal that I loved in the main OG vanilla campaign. It just made it a slog. I actually got bored in Doom Eternal, and that sucks. That really sucked. It made me pissed off because I have to fight these stupid new enemies. I just did not like them at all. Whoever's idea was this to introduce new enemies to those caliber, I think they should have changed it up. I was highly disappointed with the enemy variety. And besides that, well, let's just address the elephant in the room. The final boss fight sucked. The final boss fight really sucked. It was so frustrating more than it needed to. I highly enjoyed the final boss from the Age of Gods Part 2 and the main campaign, the OG vanilla campaign. But the Age of Gods Part 1 final boss, when I didn't find out the weakness for the spirits, and then when basically I knew I had to Ghostbuster them, when I had to look it up on YouTube or Google, the final boss was just a piss poor bullet sponge of a bull crap boss. I hated him every single moment. It took like 20 extra minutes, then that was unnecessary. And then the game didn't even give it a satisfaction of killing that final boss prick. I hated it. I hated that final boss fight. I hated it with a passion. That's why I gave this game a 7. I was being generous. I wanted to give it a 6 because that final boss pissed the living crap out of me. It did. And I would this on the story because it was trying to take itself seriously again, just like in the main campaign, but I could deal with it. I can deal with it. I could move on because Doom Eternal, anything with Doom, you can't take the story seriously. You just can't. So I can't nitpick at that, but I can certainly nitpick the final boss fight. That was just a crummy, horrible idea of a final boss fight, and the ID and ID Software and Bethesda, horrible idea. Horrible idea. Great cliffhanger, horrible idea. Okay, I think I ran enough. I think the final boss can suck it. Now, let's move on to the Age of Gods Part 2, and then we're finally done with this verdict video. Okay, so Age of Gods Part 2. In terms of my complaint, I got no complaints with it. There's a reason why I gave Age of Gods Part 2 9, just to finish it out. So, let's talk about the positives. First thing, the Citadel Hammer It's not as epic or badass as the Crucible from the main campaign, but it is certainly badass. It's so useful. It's so essential every time I use it. I love using it. Every time I used the Citadel Hammer, I was thinking, like, time to bring the hammer down! Every freaking time I did the Age of Gods Part 2. I think Citadel Hammer was a great idea. It was a great new weapon. I missed the Crucible. The Crucible was sorely missed. Sorely missed. Nothing beats having a lightsaber in Doom. And they did it in the Doom fashion. I missed the Crucible. But we got the Citadel Hammer. Not disappointed at all. Loved it. The lore, the story is still not the greatest, but I think the story was handled much better because it ended in a very much satisfying note. Because the environments forced you to focus on the story. The story was put front and center, but done in a very concrete, digestible, and a very satisfying way. I like that Doom went back into their sarcophagus, just like 2016. I think that was a very fitting conclusion to the Doom Slayer storyline. That started from the first one, what you think about it. I think anybody who's a Doom fan will highly be satisfied with the Ancient Gods Part 2. The environments were crisp, very well done, and guess what, ID Software, Bethesda, actually you guys pulled your pants up and actually had the balls to do it. You gave us enemy variety. That was done well. I love the enemy variety compared to Age of Gods 1 because you guys actually did the research and knew how shitty the Age of Gods Part 1 was. You actually took the time, and I was actually very much satisfied, very much impressed. And even though you didn't add new weapons, I think the Citadel Hammer was a great idea. And the final boss, even though people would think it's total crap, I highly enjoyed the final boss of Age of Gods 2 much more than Part 1. Not the OG vanilla main campaign, but I highly enjoyed it because of story context. Even though the story was not good, the story context made sense with the final boss. I think the final lines, the script was much tighter, the story was much tighter. In terms of the final campaign, they even made an Avengers Endgame that made real sense, and it really fit the Doom lore. Everything that we went to, every level we went to, every pacing, it was all gel well. I think Age of Gods Part 2 was pretty much a chef's kiss to end this kind of very epic glory, blood and gore fest. So, I got nothing more to say. I highly recommend Age of Gods Part 2. I say skip Age of Gods 1, just watch it on YouTube, just to get the cutscenes. Don't even play it, because you don't really need to. Just pretty much Age of Gods Part 2, all the way. You'll be satisfied. Okay, so guys, I think I have talked long enough. So we're going to just go ahead and finish this. Leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on your favorite Doom Eternal, or Doom 2016, or any other Dooms. And stay tuned is my catchphrase. Pay me $1 or 50 bucks.